Hey everyone, welcome to Everyday Chaplain. I'm Drew, just an everyday chaplain, and today I'm here to share with you the few basic things that you need to have if you want to be a military chaplain, and specifically an Army chaplain. So stay tuned and we'll talk about those things. So if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in becoming an Army chaplain or a military chaplain. And the qualifications for all the branches of the military are pretty similar, but today I'm going to be speaking specifically about Army chaplaincy. And as I talk about each of these things, it's one thing that's important to note that you should probably talk to an Army chaplain recruiter or whatever branch you're looking at, because they're going to know the specifics, and there's always a little bit of wiggle room in a lot of this stuff where you can get a waiver, and maybe the qualifications have shifted a little bit since the recording of this video. So it's vital that you talk to a recruiter, and specifically a chaplain recruiter. Those are different than your regular everyday recruiters because they'll know the exact details of what you need if you want to become a military chaplain. So I'm going to cover 4 basic categories of what is necessary to become a chaplain in the Army. So the first thing you need is education. And there's no way around this. You need to be educated if you want to be a chaplain in the Army. So as an officer, at a minimum, you need to have a bachelor's degree. So as a chaplain, you serve as an officer, and at a minimum for an officer, they need to have a bachelor's degree. But as a chaplain, you are a specialty branch officer, which then requires further training, kind of like lawyers and doctors and things of that sort. So you need to have a 4-year bachelor's degree. In addition to that, you need to have a graduate degree in either some kind of theological or religious studies, and it needs to be a minimum of 72 semester credit hours. These schools need to be regionally accredited. They can't just be, online paper mill type schools. You need to have that bachelor's degree and you need to have that graduate degree. Most people go with a master's of divinity. The second thing that you're going to need besides those degrees is you need to be qualified. How is someone qualified to be a chaplain? Well, a chaplain is a religious leader. And so you have to be ordained and endorsed by some kind of religious body that recognizes your call to ministry. They vouch for you, and the Army says they recognize you as a religious leader, we'll recognize you as a religious leader. So if you're interested in becoming a chaplain, you need to start thinking about who do you want to be ordained and endorsed by. And depending on your denomination and your religious background, maybe they don't use the term ordained, that type of thing. The thing that's important is contacting whatever religious body and institution that you want to serve under. Contact them and see what their requirements are. For example, I'm an Assemblies of God minister, and they require so many years of licensed ministry before you can step into ordination and become an ordained minister. And the only people that they endorse as chaplains are those who are already ordained. So there's so many options out there available to you. It just kind of really depends on your own religious faith and traditions and who you want to serve under. I'll put a link below of a place where you can actually find out who out there actually is an endorser, because that's an important step. So the first one is education. The second one's being qualified. And then number 3 is what I call background. You need to have, in a way, like a clean background, right? You have to be healthy physically, be able to pass medical standards by the military, and they'll put you through that. In addition to that, you have to get a security clearance. And so, there's certain things in our past that might hold us back from getting a security clearance, but you're going to go through that process with the chaplain recruiter, and they're going to help you determine if the speeding ticket that you got when you're 21 is going to hold you back. They'll go through that. And again, there's waivers for a lot of different things. Maybe you had a surgery and you're like, well, I can never be a chaplain because I had surgery on this part of my body. Or, when I was a kid, I stole a candy bar from the corner store. The chaplain recruiter will be someone that will be able to walk with you through that. Number 4, age. There's certain age cutoffs for both the reserve and the active duty components, and you're going to want to look into what that is. And again, the chaplain recruiter is going to be the person that can talk to you about that and where that is for you. There's waivers for these as well. If you're past a certain age, like let's say you're 65 and you want to be an Army chaplain, that's probably not going to happen because, most people don't serve in the Army past 60. You really have to figure out where it is. It fluctuates. When I went on active duty, you had to do it before age 42, but I think that has shifted back and forth depending on age waivers. I've heard of stories of people all the way up to 46 and 47 jumping into active duty chaplaincy, and the reserve and The National Guard, their age cap is a little bit higher. I think it hovers around 46 or 48. Again, you want to talk to a chaplain recruiter to find out where that is. There's a lot of things that we probably could have talked about, but those are really just the 4 main areas. Education, being qualified, your background, and your age. Those are the 4 main things. And the one thing that you probably heard me say a lot is call a chaplain recruiter, because they are the ones that will be able to let you know where those lines currently stand and if there's a waiver on anything that maybe you're concerned about. Lastly, I'm talking about being a full-fledged chaplain in the military. There's also what they call a chaplain candidate program, and maybe you don't have your education fully finished yet. You can still jump in and become an officer and become a chaplain candidate. Those requirements are a little bit less. I will have a link below and a contact information below for our chaplain recruiters. And so if you're interested in being a chaplain or a chaplain candidate, serving in the military, but specifically the Army, check that stuff out below. Thank you for tuning in today. If you like this stuff, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share it with everybody, and we'll see you later.